Hey guys, welcome back to Design with Emmy, a channel where we talk about design, everything from product design to UI UX design. So if that sounds like something you're interested in, don't forget to share, like, and subscribe to this channel. And if you enjoyed this episode, also don't forget to share, like, and subscribe. So today we're going to talk about handoff. So design handoff. This is a process where you as a designer finally hand off your designs to the development team so that conversion can start. So I'm going to focus on the easiest way to go about design handoff that works even for beginners, because in a more structured organization there's like specific tools even that people use when they're handing off, and people create tokens and all that, but we're not going to focus on that in this episode. We're just going to talk about generally a few tips that can help you as a beginner or an intermediate designer to hand off better to the developers. So as I mentioned, um, what is handoff? Handoff is a process where you as a designer are finally done with the designs and you want to hand them off to the developers for conversion. First things first, for you to properly hand off to the developers, it is very important from the very beginning, at the time when you are receiving requirements for the design, for the developers to be involved from that point. So when you are having the sit down with the client, or your product manager is giving you the requirements for the product, it is very important for the devs to be in the room also, so that they also understand what is what you're trying to achieve, and they can also think about how they will be achieving it in the back end. Yeah, in the back end, because the front end developers will pretty much be waiting on what you have, and then they will just create endpoints for where the front end and the back end will connect. So it's very important to include developers from the very beginning. When you are receiving requirements, it's important for both front end back end developers to understand what you're trying to achieve with this product. Point number 2 is, now when you are doing the designs, it's important for you to organize your file in a way that will facilitate easy follow up or flow as the developers are going through your work. So you want first to name your screens correctly. So don't just use whatever the automatically assigned name for every frame that Figma gives. So if it's the dashboard frame, then you want it to name it dashboard. If the frame is for adding a user, then you want that frame to be named add user. This helps the developer know that content within this frame is for this specific flow, so it's easier for them as they are converting to not be confused. Also, you want to name the flows and organize your screens in terms of the flows. So if it is like maybe a sign up flow, you want the screens to be arranged exactly how what's the first step in the sign up, the second one, the third one, the fourth one, until the user finishes signing up. And you want to do that for each and every flow that you have on your system. So always make sure that you have organized your flows as they're supposed to follow through, including the error states. So with the error state, you just mentioned you've named the file error state. So for instance, it is add user, but with the showing the error state, you just name it add user error state, and you organize them. So maybe this is the happy path, and then the error state is below the successful version of the screen, so that it's easy for the developer to follow as they're going, even without having to check the prototype. Third, you want to take the developers through your work. So don't just send them the Figma file or whatever design tool you're using. and have them, understand whatever it is you are trying to achieve. No, as much as they were included from the beginning when collecting the requirements, it's important for you as the designer to take the developer through all the processes, all the flows, get them to understand your thought process, get them to understand how you are implementing this, and then they can also give feedback on, where maybe they need clarity on how you think something should be implemented. So for instance, maybe how you had implemented a feature is not technically feasible, or it's much difficult, and there's an easier way to do to implement that feature without compromising on the user's experience. So this is a place where now that collaborations comes in, that they can be like, oh, what do you think about, instead of doing it like this, we could do it like this. You bounce ideas off of each other, and at the end, everyone wins, and everyone includes the user, the final user of the product. So it's very important for you to take the developers through what you have done, and even as you take them through your file that is organized, then when they come to start converting, it's easier for them to just remember that, oh, this was the error state, this is the happy part, this is how the designer has organized the file. So it's easy for them to follow up even without a prototype. Which takes me to point number 4, which is prototype. So as much as you have organized your file as it's supposed to go, it's also really nice for you to prototype at least the happy path for the developers, so that they don't have to keep coming back to you whenever there's a disconnect somewhere. So as much as you organize your file, kindly prototype. This is an advantage to you and to the developers, so that there's no that back and forth, or someone misses a step. The prototype will help guide them, and yeah, it will facilitate that process for you. Last point, support post handoff. So as much as you have given off the developers and they're running with it and converting and building the product, your work is not 100% done. You need to stay at a support role for the developers in case they need anything. Maybe you missed a screen. Most of the time you'll find, as the backend developers are creating the architecture for the product and building the structures of how the product will be implemented in the back end, they find some things that maybe are missing, or some things were not considered, or these for instance, you may have assumed there are some APIs that are there but they're missing, so they need to come back to you to find another solution. So find an alternative way to do it, without them having to be the ones to change the look and feel of the interface. So you need to stay at a support role, be available for the developers. They'll keep coming back to you in case of anything, if you keep them close, rather than if you just throw it off and go. You will find the thing that is live is quite different from what you had designed. So to curb that, it's important for you to stay at a support role. That way the devs feel comfortable if they need to change something, or they think something is not working as you have designed it, then they come back to you and ask for your help to design a different solution for how it can be implemented with what they have. Same thing goes for the front-end developers. Maybe whatever you are, because you would find most of the time, especially in like an organization with a lot going on, the designers may not necessarily do the mobile layout for SaaS designs, because most of SaaS designs are like web fast, so most users will be accessing them via a desktop. So it's usually up for instance, in our organization, it's up to the front-end developers to figure out how to do the mobile layout, but as designers we stay in a support role with them, because they have been doing this for a long time, so they know how they usually do it. But us staying at a support role for things that maybe they be wondering how would I represent this in the best way for the mobile view, they can come back to you as a designer and you can help give them direction. So this was a short video, but I hope it was helpful, and I hope you can use these tips when you are working with developers and collaborating with them, and I hope it helps make the collaboration a bit better. Thank you so much for joining me, and I'll see you in the next video. If you like what you heard, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Thank you. Bye.